You can put it up.
Alright, man, just chill.
Yeah, so it's Kai, Toby, and Derick. I'm gonna do a state of the meta. Haven't done one in like 6 months, but Springfest is finally over. So we can all talk about what the meta's like in both standard and premium at the end of Springfest going into BCS this year. So how is the meta right now? How do you guys like standard?
It's pretty disgusting. It's good with fish and dragons. So, as you saw in Munich, I think top 4 teams each had a Bermuda, each had a Kagero, which is pretty disgusting.
No, actually, no. The winning team was Bermuda, Genesis, Pale Moon.
No,
this is Munich.
Munich.
Munich. Oh, Munich. Okay,
yeah.
right.
But
Spoilers.
But yeah, like Bermuda is just like such a strong deck, and there's nothing that can really stop it.
Yeah, and Force 2 is coming out.
It's not even at its full strength yet, which is like the really bad thing, and it's like consistently in every single fucking like loadout. Like it's insane.
Yeah, definitely.
So, fun standard. What about premium? Premium collection just got released. You've seen a lot of decks recently, especially after this Springfest. Do you think it's in a good place? Fun place? Doesn't have to be.
Well, it's better than the NLK meta, where like it's NLK versus the rest of the world. So at the moment, we see Ichi, Ezel, Luart, Nova Grappler. We actually didn't see many Nova Grapplers.
Zero Nova Grapplers.
Zero Nova Grapplers, yeah. And then what else? DI is one of the
DI
ones.
was good,
And then like there are some surprising ones like Pale Moon, and then Seiji's all-time favorite Neonectar.
Neonectar is good though.
Yeah, so Premium Collection really opened a lot of things for most decks.
Yeah, definitely a lot of choices now for like people to play like casually and competitively. So I think that's really good. But it's just like the fact that it's still a like diverse range because like there's counters to different things now, not just like saying.
There's not a solid thing that's like tier 1.
Yeah, exactly. Like going back, like how to say every deck has to compete against NLK. Like how do you beat that? If it doesn't, well, GG, you can't play that. Yeah. So like a lot of prominent things now as well have to focus on the grade 2 game because so many amazing strides on the first strike can like literally just bang kill you. Like Ichitom just wrecks you like if it gets its line up and just triggers actually because you can't do anything about it, man. Like sit on 3, 15 card head. Oh, GG, man.
And then the funny thing is that like when we get the PR, people might move away from Tom as well.
Like Rio's build, Pentatoni allows you to
early game focus. It's pretty intense.
Yeah, so manipulating that the top 2 cards of your deck early, and then like setting up just lanes. And I remember like I think during one of my Springfest games, like I made 3 lines where even if they get a damage trigger, it doesn't matter. And I think that's what that PR will open up a lot, and especially giving 20k. That's huge. And like guarding 43k on a 9k base, that sucks.
So let's bring it back to Springfest Sydney for a bit. Let's talk about standard first, and then we'll go into premium. So with standard, what was your team set up? How did you guys go?
Okay, so our team setup was Bermuda, Kagero, and then OTT. Bermuda, Kagero, pretty self-explanatory. Yeah. And then OTT, our pick was that because we had the mindset of going into a full force format. I know a lot of teams use Murakuma as a backup, and then obviously that one team that decided to use Genesis and Pale Moon. Yeah, that was pretty cool. But yeah, OTT was a pretty safe pick. I got actually pretty unlucky getting matched up with Murakuma, but a lot of mirrors and stuff like that.
So our team for standard took the same lineup. Is OTT really the best third choice? Because everything is Bermuda Kagero. Then you have people taking these Murakumas. But do you think Oracle is just the best third pick? Is it better than Angel Feather, right? Which fulfills the same function. Maybe.
Yeah. So what I feel is that outside of, I guess, Bermuda. So you have Kagero. Kagero hits 5 lines, right? Well, best case scenario 5 times, and then you have Bermuda that hits 3. So if you are able to fuel hand to maybe guard early game, so Rectangle Megas is one of your big ones, and just applying pressure because you can check crit and then just push your opponent early. That's really like it ramps you up real good, and then be able to like just farm PGs. You can still take one, like they're not gonna get double crit unless they sack you. Yeah, and then just take one, start farming again. Yeah, and just keep going.
Yeah, like the problem with Angel Feather is like the fact that BT has such a strong early game, and like Kagero has the option of just going waterfall and winning off that. Is like, so they try and stall out everything, where there's a lot of times where they won't be able to do that because they're having so much pressure put on them, so they're having to try and build up hand, which they can't really do. It's Angel Feather. The idea is to try and stall down so they can heal down, because like OGT is the thing that farms hand, can put on the aggression if need be, so it helps balance that out so it doesn't get completely wrecked by some of the prominent like force decks and even Uxel and like if you play Angel Feather, like Murakumo is some of the counter options to try and be like, say, Higero, to try and sort of do with that and go against Protect decks. So OTT can try and sustain. Angel Feather kind of actually dies to Murakumo because you just ride lock them and they kind of heal down, so they have to try and farm Protect markers with Zerakiel, and like it's just very hard.
Yeah, especially the extra tools that Murakumo's got.
Yeah, exactly. Now. Even this is like when Ultra Rare first came out, Murakumo was doing the same thing, and now they have Shiryuki in that engine to be able to still do that perfection and just finish them so quickly. Like, it's pretty nuts.
Yeah, so let's talk a bit about standard Kagura, though. You mentioned Waterfall being an option. Waterfall or original Overlord? That's a question.
Yeah,
people
definitely.
like Overlord gives you the extra consistency, maybe the extra early game pressure. Waterfall has the retire early game, but gives you the later game pressure against Protect decks. What is the correct choice? Because a lot of the lists in Japan do run more Overlord than just Waterfall.
It's an interesting point as well. Like, comparative to our different lists as well. Like, I ran a very heavy Waterfall based list where you ran a lot more of the OG Overlord. So like my thought philosophy was going into where both aren't the best first rides, right? But against like the certain decks, like I was thinking of going against a lot of Protect decks a lot more in my seeding. So my reasoning was to run Waterfall would be to just continue to put up that pressure. And against some of the other decks like BT, a lot of riding consistent Waterfalls has that retire and has that pressure. So sometimes that one retire is really handy. Like if they again can call a lot of their grade 3s, like getting rid of them early is like really, really helpful and important. Like, so you don't like get instantly wrecked by BT when they just sort of push you when they're big turns. So.
Yeah, and we're talking about Springfest here, so seating is quite important. So I know I was sitting in seat A, he was sitting in seat C, and I think
I was seat A.
Yeah, seat A. Yeah. So if it rolled out how it rolled out, so seat B was our cursed seat.
Yeah, the curse.
So B means bad. So the person in B did pretty bad. Okay, our team, So going into Springfest, you gotta know like play positioning, and it's quite important to decide which build is better. So Overlord has its pros and cons, but then if you're going to a seat where Bermuda is A, Kagero is B, like just the traditional best second, like first, second, third best deck sitting at C, then you have to expect decks like Angel Feather, OTT, and like just those random decks where you really need that Waterfall. So it depends really where you sit.
Like, when I was sitting at A, I assumed that I'd be facing a lot of Bermuda and Kagero. I actually didn't face any Kagero. But I faced like a Bermuda every other game. But one thing is that with my grade 2 line, I'm running like 14 grade 2s. Compared to yours was like 12 because yours was more Waterfall focused. In the Kagero mirror, right? You don't want to commit boosters. So I just want front rows, and with 14 grade 2s, I can easily just put a front row bash repeatedly, and then just because I'm running 3 of the full armored buster, you can always get your grade. You're like in testing, the worst time is you just never get grade. Never get great. So you basically just don't do anything. So running that really and even in the Bermuda matchup, right? Like all my games are finished in pretty much like 5 minutes. Like right up to grade 3, at grade 2, just slam front row and bash them. They were just pretty much dead. And that became the quickest way.
Well, you have to against BT. Like the longer you grind out, like they just consistently stay pushing, and you have to like kind of struggle to sort of game back, and like. It's realistically in those kind of matchups, it's whoever finds the most PGs really can top over and win, which is like
Yeah.
because their Phoenix are essentially kind of useless if you retire, so their guard isn't really there. So it's literally whoever can PG the most in those kind of situations.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you were testing a lot of Murukuma into BT anyways, and you said something about like how you generally have to throw down hand, and then the whole game shifts because you're like, you mentioned something about the game becoming just pure Shiryuki.
Yeah.
So pushing aggression against Bermuda early is it's like.
It's not like Bermuda ever wants to ride anyway.
Yeah,
exactly right.
Yeah, it's like riding for 10k, whereas placing on rear guard gives 30k.
Yeah. So overall, Stan, I think we all bubbled out, but luckily our buddy Jasper and his team made it to third. So congrats to him. And then Bermuda, Genesis, and Pale Moon won in the finals.
Yeah,
pretty epic finals.
Yeah,
that was so surprising.
Man, that Pale Moon player sacked like a god, but man, he's god tier. Like top 8, like he got drained down to nothing, and then top deck Gun Salute Dragon, and then won the whole like the deciding match, and then that pushed him to top 4, and then ended up top 2, and then. He versus OT, and then just top deck Gun Salute. The next turn got drained. Top deck Gun Salute again, and it got drained again, and then top deck Golden Beast Hammer and just wiped OTT. Like wow, that's incredible. Yeah, so
one of the most interesting standard matches I've probably seen in like forever.
Yeah, that was
Bermuda's like watching Bermuda just flip a crit is pretty boring. but
Pale Moon
watching Pale Moon top deck is pretty damn sweet. Especially with like Gunsuit, like $1 VR, right? It's like, everyone like doesn't want it, so people might care about it now. But I mean, he's also running some pretty innovative stuff, like running a lot of the 12k grade 2 beers to actually hit Force numbers. That's something that you have to consider now when everyone's playing Force. You technically are at an advantage, so you've got to play more risky builds to try and get ahead. Like there's in situations where it was like opponent's on low damage, so he has to basically pray that he doesn't get a damage trigger, but that's pretty much what you have to do when you're playing these kind of decks in this format. So.
Yeah, definitely.
So overall, I think that's all about it for standard.
Yeah, pretty much. Nothing.
We can move on to premium. Everyone loves premium now with premium collection. And I heard you guys did pretty well.
Yeah, we did pretty well. Yeah, 6-0 in Swiss, and then ended up winning the whole. Australia beat BSF.
Yeah. Good job, guys. Good job.
Pretty good.
WCC did pretty good at that. Unfortunately, we faced each other in top 8.
That was the worst case scenario, sort of going into top.
So like we got announced first, and then second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, and I was like, oh no. And then they revealed you 8, and I was like, nah, come on, man. Like,
good,
that's
right?
so unfair.
We got in, and then we can't. So it went pretty well for both of us in a way.
Definitely.
Yeah, definitely.
What would you guys take? Let's go with that.
Okay, well, there were actually a lot of random decks, but given the nature of Australia's meta, in I think multiple different years, the meta is really diverse. So what I versed was Nobatama. We've encountered as a team like Tachikaze, Mega Colony. There was a lot of that. Pale Moon and DI topped, but you will still see the meta decks. So like Ishikishima, Ezu, Neo Nectar, and I think Neo Nectar really boomed out once people kind of got what that deck did.
I think a lot of people paid attention to last week's tournament at Cardiff.
Yes,
Neo Nectar, Shadow, and OTT top.
Since it was the first big premium collection release weekend, that was like a setting stone about how sort of the staging of what will come next will be like. So a lot of people took inspiration from the big things to top from that. And,
the biggest one was like Neo and Shadow.
Yes, definitely.
OTT, they kind of all went with the more Japanese based build.
Yes, definitely. Because I know in Cardiff, that's the one that Solemn won, right? Yeah. So the OTT build was a bit different, wasn't it? Yeah, so it was just an Oracle engine, and then having that one Susanoo, it was a little bit different. But I think people found out that you can just change a standard deck, and then just add the G zone and just play. So it's really helpful. I guess the newer players. So premium collection, grab 4 Ichi. Revival collection, grab the old Ichi. and you can just pretty much play. So I think that's what people try to base their decks around. But yes, Neonectar and Luai, and obviously Solemn using Luai, he pretty much blew up the world. And then like literally every fanboy in Australia like copied his decks.
Yeah, so, it's funny. Like, well, one of the top 4 teams were really happy they made top 4 because now they get featured on Solemn's meta analysis. So congrats.
Yeah, congrats.
So with our team composition, we both went Gold Paladin, Bermuda Triangle, and OTT.
Yeah.
And apart from the Bermuda Triangle, we can talk about that later because it's a bit of a special build.
Yeah.
Why do we take Gold Paladin and Oracle thing? Why wasn't there a Luard or a Neonectar or a DI or even a Nova? We can talk about Nova a bit as well. Yeah.
Okay, so from my experience with DI, the deck has 0 early game. Like, you can put the Monte Executioner and put on a Weird Tiger, but it does nothing.
Yeah.
So it has no early game. Can't survive against Neonectar. And like Ichikishima just crits you to death. So you never get to your first stride. But if you ever get to your first stride, you kill them instantly. Like there's no turning back.
Yeah.
Right? And then Neonectar is just bash.
I think a lot of things like deterring people as well is the fact that you need to sustain the early game. Like against so many decks that have amazing early game, if you don't have that, you're just gonna die, right? Like Shadows, Gold will just high roll you and kill you. It just happens regardless sometimes anyway. OTT, early game, Neonectar, you just get bashed. So, like, you need to sustain against those things. So, like, I think one of the reasons why, like, Nova Grappler, it's a really strong deck, really prominent, but it has, like, no good early game at the moment. Until, like, EBO 7 comes out when they're able to have, like, better early game, Kick Typhoon, like, even riding up to 3 for push as well with Goshashi and doing all those kind of things. Still, like... they really had to choose decks that would really be able to sustain, I think. So
and I also think that the reason why we didn't choose Luard is because obviously we don't kind of want to go into a format where, you know, you don't want to be playing with 5 grade 3s. Kind of. Yeah, and it's a little bit hard because, you know, it's a really good deck for, like, you know, sustaining the grade 2 game. But, like, if you don't get your grade 3, then you're, like, kind of screwed. So we kind of didn't want to go into that direction. Whereas Ichikishima, you know, you can search forever for your grade 3s and you can get them pretty much whenever you want.
And like sometimes Luard as well, like, is the fact that it sort of like has to kind of ditch ritual count as well. So like if you miss in the early game like 1 or 2 pieces, it's going to be such a big struggle fest. Like no domain, like the amount of like dedication you have to try and like first stride ritual, like it's kind of like what you have to do in this meta as well. Like it's so hard and like. I think most of us didn't really want to risk that fact. Like, if you don't open the main, don't find grade 3, GG, man, sorry, I can't do anything about it. Like, that's just, like, we want to find the most consistent options possible. Like, the things that, like, even if they're going down, like, it's not so bad because they're able to be sustaining and coming back up with, like, the cards that help us with the deck.
Okay, alright, So, in the end, Gold Paladins and OTT. I think OTT is best at the moment.
Definitely.
Funnily enough, Gold Paladin might not be your guaranteed pick. Do you think? Would that be the case? You have more options now?
Yeah, definitely. It wasn't a guaranteed pick, but like I was the Gold Paladin on my team. But like in previous iterations, obviously when you played Gold Paladin, you wanted to go first or you would just scrub out basically, right? Like you couldn't really do anything because basically you would just like have to either sustain or like try and raid grade 3 and hope for the best, but they're in grade 2 still, so they can just ride up and kill you. But thankfully for the release of Premium Collection, Spear X, like it punishes inexperienced players like so bad. Like they either want to like if they go first, then they want to try and I can actually do things to try and push you. And as soon as you get opened up with 2 counterblast with Gold Paladin superior riding on you, open up stride turn and the game just swings so far in your favor, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, and especially with one that was creating multiple Excel circles and
definitely.
Just play around with those Excel circles is so huge.
Yeah, and when they do that as well, like they're on grade 1 and you're on a grade 4. Like it's nuts. And in doing that as well, like you've got after that turn ends, 2 cards face up in G zone, you're so close to an ultimate turn as well. And like Glorious Raining on grade 2 as well. Like it's just insane.
It's like one of the biggest mistakes in Premium is giving GP 2 damage.
Yeah.
Then giving like DI first stride.
What not to do in Premium.
So if any lesson is to be learned, don't do either of those things.
Yeah.
It's like insane.
Yeah, so that game, that tournament went on from like 9 p.m. to like finished around 11. 9 a.m. Finished at around 11 p.m. So we had a lot of fun times playing premium.
13 hours.
Yeah, and we had some great 2-hour games in top 8 and finals. That you can probably see soon. I'm not sure about the finals, but top 8 probably. Yeah,
so. Definitely interesting.
So everyone, both teams are just counseling. Giant meeting, staff meeting.
Yep.
Anything else you'd like to add?
Bermuda Harmony.
Oh yeah.
Harmony. Yeah, so that was one of the decks that both of our teams took, and obviously our boy Andy topped.
Mark
nearly. Well, Mark did too, but
and he won.
Andy ended up winning against Palmo. Nearly died to dust. Yeah. But yeah, the deck is really a different deck, to Ange Trois, which is pretty much one of the biggest Bermuda decks before this, and to change it with the new melody stuff is quite big, don't you think?
Yeah, so I was with Andy and Mark for most of the testing, and we realized Ange Trois just isn't that great anymore. Unfortunately, it's pretty pushed out of the meta, especially with Ichikishima. It used to be free, now it's even more free, and for against other decks now, it's also free to them. So before it used to be top 2, now it's probably top X. So you needed new ways to innovate to combat this new meta, and Anji Harmony Melody kind of became a thing just because I think there was Anji Melody lists through around, or just Melody lists in general. But being able to just get advantage early, especially with Shandy, it really sets you up for the later games where all your columns start multi-attacking for huge numbers, and then you've got a ballerina. I'm not.
The whale.
The whale. The whale. The fat whale.
Yeah. Andy's favorite card.
Yeah, Andy's favorite card. That's why he runs 2. We both run 2. It actually is pretty decent. You can use it when they damage deny you to push damage. If you don't ride, if you have to ride a Caro, you can just you'd see in the finals. But also it's a great finisher. So just you draw so many hands with that deck and get up to 19 so far is the biggest, and then you just both players reveal their hand and start shooting cards. It's actually one of the better progenitor dragons that we got compared to everything else.
Yeah, for sure.
We'll leave it to the experts to explain that deck more. Yeah, because it's big brain deck.
Yeah, big brain deck.
So intense, man.
I tried to play 5 games before. I had no idea what I was doing.
So unfortunately, in the finals, since it was against Pale Moon, they went pretty YOLO with it. But that's also something you can do. So maybe we can explain a bit more later. Yeah. So is that pretty much it about premium?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, definitely. So do you just want to talk about what's next, I guess?
Well, immediately is Heroic Evolution.
EBS 7, Force,
Give 2s.
Give 2 in English, yes.
So that's pretty big. It's pretty big. We'll see Excel 2.
Yeah, Excel
2.
Force 2.
Force 2,
lots of dough. Lots of the end, because everyone's a Draconic Overlord fanboy.
And not much Protect 2, unfortunately.
Unfortunately.
They dropped the ball there with that one, but probably they'll release some broken card like Nubatama VR.
Yeah.
I think so. Meta's going to change quite a bit. Probably see a bit more than Bermuda's, and then more Bermuda as well. The fish people never go away.
Definitely.
Only gets stronger from here.
Hi guys.
That's pretty much it, right?
And well, we can talk more about Heroic Evolution
once
later,
once
it comes out. But be
yeah.
sure to enjoy Locks coming back in Standard. Alright, I think we'll wrap it up there. We won't keep you too long. Derick has a flight to catch, so we don't want to miss that. So we'll see you in the next video.
Manta Chiwa.
Manta Chiwa.
Thanks, guys.